Hi, everyone. Oh, hold on here. I'm not the one that normally says that, but today I get to. So, the reason why I'm starting out our podcast instead of Rivka like normal is because we decided as a group, as our collective group, that we decided it was time to turn the camera on Rivka. So, I will still let her go ahead and do her normal opening, but I'm going to be asking the questions today, and Rivka gets to do the answering. So take it away.
Hi, everybody. RivkaLeah. I am so glad that everybody is tuning in today. And I am thrilled that Marisa wanted to do this little interview with me because I think it is very important that everybody really know what the collective is all about and why I started this. So, what do you have for me?
Well, I just have a couple questions because I obviously have an intimate look behind the scenes,
Yes.
but there's always that thing that we focus on so many of the details. I'd love to give everybody a little bit more clarity of the overall goal of what RLC means to you, why it was started, what it's going to accomplish in the future, and truly the motive. So that is literally my first question is what was your motive to start the RivkaLeah Collective?
Oh, that's a multifaceted question. My motive was to help survivors of trauma and any type of trauma. Originally, I was focusing on female survivors because, as a female, that was the easy way to handle things. But I don't want to exclude anybody. Every person is affected by trauma in some way or another. So the motive for starting this was to help every single person that I can, to touch their lives, give them the information that they need to move forward, point them in the direction of the collective if they need to come and see what other people have used that has worked for them, or give them the resources to find some sort of professional help. So that was my motive, is to get people together in a like-minded community, a like-minded collective, to help one another and to kind of get rid of the stigma of trauma, because society says trauma is traumatic and we don't want to talk about it. It's a thing that has happened and it's a terrible thing. And, I don't want to minimize trauma in any way because it is a terrible thing, but society says that we shouldn't really talk about it. And I want people to be able to open up so that they can heal. So my motive was to bring people together as a collective so that they could heal.
And to your point, we've spoke about this in the past that no trauma should be minimized.
Correct.
Or either compared to someone else's trauma.
Correct.
And I know that's something that we've always really tried to make very apparent that is something that's a standard for us as well.
Yes.
And, I know when you interviewed me last time on your podcast, we'd spoke about the fact that the same trauma can happen to two different individuals and have two very different effects. So again, even just saying not female versus male or any gender or any trauma, it's definitely all encompassing that way.
Correct.
And it's very inclusive. So I love the fact that you yourself have, I don't want to say the word niche down because we're not talking about a brand. We actually, in ways, opened up that brand.
Right.
So that's what makes me so incredibly proud. And seeing the evolution of this has been so incredible already. It's just absolutely stunning to me that I get really excited because it's like if it's changed this much already and grown and evolved and become even more sophisticated, what will it be like in a year or two or three more from this point forward?
Well, it's definitely going to get bigger, and you're right. I didn't want to exclude anybody. When I started this, I didn't, I wanted to do what was safe because I didn't want to feel, I didn't want to stretch my boundaries. And I realized in my own healing journey, I needed to stretch those boundaries. So just by focusing on female survivors, I wasn't stretching my boundaries. So I needed to learn and heal a little bit more and now open up to every person. And again, part of this healing journey that is involved in my motive is people come from so many different backgrounds and so many different things that, as you said, trauma, the same thing can happen to two different people, but it will be a completely different outcome in
Yes.
how they interpret it, is if it's trauma or if it isn't trauma. So that is another part of my motive, is to show the progression of how things start and how people go through and what they interpret as trauma.
One thing I do have to compliment you is that you are incredibly kind when it comes to validating someone's existence, their trauma, and their path. And I have never once felt like there has ever been a moment where you have put somebody down for it or said that it's less than. And it's really, because again, it's the subtleties of it, that everybody deserves to be heard, seen,
Yes.
felt, and loved. And I really feel like you've done an incredible job up to this point.
Thank you. And I think that goes to the point that I said about society, is society puts people down if they've had some sort of a traumatic experience, or they're suffering with something, or they're still struggling with it. So I never want to minimize it, because I don't understand it, because I didn't go through exactly what you went through, but that doesn't mean what you went through wasn't terrible for you. And I think I actually used this analogy in one of my talks. I said, I don't care if you've had a hangnail every single day, that's traumatic to you.
Yes.
Where somebody else could have been had some other, what they would have said is a big traumatic experience, a car accident, or maybe they were in war or something like that. But it does not make it any less for the individual experiencing it.
Mm-hmm. So my second question actually has been pretty much answered, but I'm going to still ask it in a little bit of a different way,
Okay.
because of the fact that the evolution of this collective is every day. It's ongoing. It's going to continue. If you look forward, who is RivkaLeah called to serve?
RivkaLeah is called to serve everybody. I do not want there to ever be a question when someone comes into the collective that they feel that they are excluded. I want every single person to feel safe, to feel respected, and to feel heard. I want them to be able, no matter, I don't care, socially, economically, physically, mentally, wherever you are, whoever you are, this is a safe place. Mm-hmm. So I see that just expanding. I really, really would love to get the word out that this is a place that you can come and get all the resources that you need. And if it is not something that we can provide here in the collective, we will help you find those resources. Yes. Whether it is a professional resource, because as I do say to everybody, I am not a doctor or a therapist, but I am more than happy to point people in the direction to get that professional help if you are in the situation where you need it.
Mm-hmm. I think in my healing path as well, there's always a sense of, what do I do? And I really had wished years ago that I would have had an opportunity to be in a community to go along with the help that I was seeking. And so I think, for my viewpoint, and again, I'm normally behind the curtain, so this is my 2 cents, but being behind the curtain view is, as we push out things to represent RLC, my goal is to make everyone feel that they can feel like they have a community to rely on and they aren't alone. Because to me, that's one of the hardest points in your life, when you are freed from the situation. You are looking at tomorrow and down your path to the future, but you're still alone.
Yeah.
And so I would like to add that this is for that time period, is so you do not feel alone, that you know you want better, but you still haven't quite gotten your sea legs yet. And that's what this collective is for, is that you don't have to do this path alone. I personally had to go through that time period quite alone, just because of life circumstances, and now being the support to other people in this collective, it's so cool because it's just a totally different experience when you have healthy people around you to support your healing. And so if that's the one thing that people take away from this, from like I said, person behind the curtain, that is my thing, is that this is your moment to not feel alone.
Well, and again, that plays into what I said earlier about society.
Mhm.
Society tells people you need to deal with this on your own. We're not going to support you because it's something bad. And we don't want bad. We want to give the impression that everything is perfect and wonderful. And I'm
Yes.
sorry, life is not perfect and wonderful.
Mhm.
Life has some ups and it has some downs. And when you're in the down, society is like, we don't want to deal with it. We
Mhm.
want to put a mask over it and we
Yes.
want to hide it. So people go through this privately, and a lot of times that's where people get stuck because
Mhm.
they don't feel heard, they don't feel supported. And I want that here in the collective. I want people to feel heard and I want them to feel supported and know that we're going against the norms of society. Although I do think society is starting to change a little bit, so I don't want to lump it all in as if it's never changing. It is changing, which is I'm very, very grateful for. But I want people to come here and know that they don't have to do this alone. And if you get stuck, and I just talked about this last night, the pitfalls, if you get stuck and you fall back and you fall into the old cycles, there's someone here to help you see that and help you move forward.
Absolutely. Anytime when you're healing too, this is something I was thinking about when you had said that last night. Your responses are not gone. Your automatic, the trigger will come up. You have to be aware of the response and then work to alter, change, guide yourself and others with that. And I think that's something it's really interesting too. And I'm very glad you've been speaking to that, is about the trigger parts
Right.
and the don't compare trauma, and all of the little subjects, like even on the lives, are just so wonderful and so loving. And I'm so glad that you also brought in the Four Agreements, which is one of my all-time favorite books. So I was so glad because it would give me another reason to go back and read it again. So I appreciate that.
Well, and I think people, sometimes, like I talked about last night, your expectations, you have unrealistic expectations. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm on my healing journey. I'm going to be healed.
Mm.
And my personal opinion is I don't think anyone is ever truly healed because there's always something that you can work on. Because as you heal and grow, there's going to be something else that you want to heal and grow more from.
Mm.
But it takes, I believe it is, and I would have to double check this, so don't quote me, but I believe it takes 27 repetitions for something for it to become, quote unquote, a muscle memory.
Yes.
So trauma has happened slowly over time. It didn't just miraculously one day have all of this happen. So you're not going to miraculously one day have it all be gone. So these pitfalls do come up, and your body will revert back to what it was used to for whatever length of time you were going through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that people need to understand that and have grace and compassion with themselves. And you get that here in the collective.
Absolutely. And even the bad habits that come from trauma too. There's so many of them and we're unaware. Mine was overthinking. And I've actually had this conversation with several people that a lot of people think that it's normal, and it's almost like, well, everybody else does it. So if I'm not laying awake at night, I must not have really bad problems. And those little habits are just like, my comparison is, it's a horrible one, but it's the only one I have, is it's, if I challenged you today and said, okay, I can bet you that I will drop down and do 50 push-ups right now, I bet you can't do more than me. Take the bet, because it's a sucker bet for me that I'm just talking out of thin air, because I need time to get to those 50 push-ups or sit-ups or whatever. Any of our bad habits are the same way. We learn them along with the trauma.
Yep.
If they're correlated. Sometimes they're not, but there's normally a trigger there that we can unlearn them when we're conscious of it.
Correct.
And that's something, again, too, that I'm so grateful to the collective for, because it's normalizing the conversation. There is never a time that I have felt in conversation with you that it's minimized, even personally, again, away from the camera and away from the group. And, you know, so I can attest to that personally behind the scenes, that even when there's been days where I'm being hard on myself, you have been the first one to step in and remind me to step back, breathe, and give myself some grace. So even when the camera's off, the message is the same, is I guess what I'm nicely saying here.
Yes, it will always be the same, because I think that everybody needs to hear that. And, you know, I'm human, I'm not perfect. And I spoke about this last night. I started to do exactly what you said. I was overthinking and I was isolating. And although one of my mottos is every morning when I wake up, today is a good day for a good day, I said it. I was not consciously living by it. And I was still in the overthinking and isolating phase. And my wonderful collective came to my rescue and reminded me of that. And that was what I needed to put me back into the right frame of mind.
So yours is, it's a good day to be a good day. Did I have
It's
it?
a good day for a good day.
For a good day. Okay. So mine that helps me is that I give myself permission to stop overthinking.
Yes.
And I use that anytime I start that cycle and I catch myself. And then it's my disruptor for that as well.
Yep.
So,
And the other one that I will use when I do catch myself overthinking is cancel, cancel.
I love that one. You are the
So,
only person I've ever heard that one from, and I love that.
yeah, so I'll wake up with it's a good day for a good day. And when that was brought to my attention and reminded me of it, I said out loud, because I happen to be and you can say it in your head too, but I happen to be a place where I could say it out loud. And I said it very with authority, cancel, cancel. And it was exactly what I needed. So I was very grateful to have the collective. And that is something that I want to point out, that although we are here to help people on their journey, we are still on our own journeys as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is something I've had a lot of people inquire about, the visible part of the RivkaLeah Collective, as in what we put out to represent it. And I've always had the same answer. It's very easy for us because it comes from our path, it comes from our experiences, and it comes from our love to just reach one person. Even if one person sees that piece of content, then we feel like we have accomplished something. And again, that one we may never know about. It's fine. That's the whole point, is just the giving forward. And I'll tell you, for me, seeing the brand evolve and the company become what it is, and knowing what's coming up next before anybody else. And sorry, I had to brag for a moment there. It's so amazing. And it's like, I would just wish in ways we could fast forward about 2 years, but then we don't get to enjoy the journey. So I just keep that to myself. But that is some days it's like, okay, but there's so much that I know we have set to accomplish, and I just want to see it right now. So I'll let you know, I'm a little impatient behind the scenes.
I know patience is definitely something that I'm working on too,
Yes,
because,
right?
you know, building this collective and talking to so many wonderful people and watching how they're now coming into their radiance
Yes.
has just been, it has really touched my heart. It has really given me the inspiration to push further.
I would actually go a step further, and because I've been privileged to see your change, I'll be the first to say that you have become so much more, I would use the word fulfilled.
Yes.
And again, because again, this is about giving, but in giving, in the right spirit, we receive. And I've been able to witness that for you, that as you give, you are receiving. And it's just been so beautiful to watch.
Yes.
And I mean, it's written on your face every single day, and it's absolutely beautiful. I know that a couple of people have used the word glowing towards you, and I'm going to call you out because I totally agree. And it's just very happy, all the happiness in the world from me to be able to witness that as well. And again, it's ironic because that what is not a part of the mission.
Right.
And it's the nicest side effect that we could ask for.
I was going to say, I love the very positive side effects that have come out of this, and things that you don't even realize that just sneak up on you. A lot of people don't know I had gone back to school, which is actually where I met Marisa. And, you know, we're older. We're obviously not teenagers any longer. So going back to school was scary,
Mhm.
but that was part of my healing journey.
Mhm.
But when I met her, and I don't know that I actually said this to you, I said it to somebody else at the event that we were at. I had no idea what joy was.
Hmm.
I didn't know how to experience joy. I didn't know if I even knew what it was.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that a lot in this past year. And I try to be conscious about it. Is this joyful to me? Do I understand what joy is? And I've done, my own research on it. And it struck me that just this past week when I had a really hard week after something that had happened that triggered me, that I realized that I do know what joy is, and that having this collective and having these people around me who are in my life now, who I have chosen to be in my life,
Mhm.
has truly given me joy.
Well, that is the first time actually that I had heard that story. So thank you for sharing that. And I will tell you, and again, not to give anything away because we both agree that everybody should attend that event. It's just such a wonderful, life-changing experience. But I will tell you that, you and I got a chance to come into each other's lives at a very humbling event. That's the best
Yes.
word I can use. I was trying to find the right word because I don't want to give anything away. But but it struck me that even when there was very deep soul searching moments that weekend, you still made sure I was okay. And you reached out to me that weekend, even though you were not even in the position to come out of your hotel room at one point and eat. Made sure I had dinner. And I don't know if I ever said that to you, but I remembered that. And that was part of the reason why I really wanted to be involved with your company from the start. That my belief in what the collective is meant to be has never wavered. And it's already exceeded in so many capacities. So I just can't. That's why I said I'm that impatient, patient person that I can't wait to see where it goes. So I have one last question for you, though.
Okay.
I want you to explain to all of the people that love to watch your episodes of your podcast, what does the future look like? Not my words, because like I said, I get a little excited about it. But if you can paint the picture that why you are asking people to stay along for this journey, to help others through this journey by bringing them into the collective, but also, again, possibly in the future, being able to give back through this community. What does that look like?
Oh my goodness.
I know.
It's
Sorry.
just so big. How do I break it down a little bit?
You see, I made you answer that question, not
Say
me.
that again.
I made you answer that question, not me. I
Oh
know.
my gosh. I just want to blurt it all out. Um, the future is definitely very bright. And to use the terms that I love, it's definitely coming from that darkness, and the future is extremely radiant. There are so many things in the works. Oh, do I want to open that up to everybody?
Well, maybe paint the picture versus all of the upcoming events.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know, but I really want to tell everybody about the events.
I
So
know.
the picture is that we, myself and the collective, would like to touch as many lives as possible. So I am actively, as is the collective, actively looking to partner with individuals who have come through their own darkness into their own radiance and have touched other people's in various modalities, so that we can get the word out to more people and spread this joy and this radiance, whether it be here where I am locally, because Marisa and I are not in the same place.
Mm-mm.
There will be things here locally where people will get to meet me in person, and we will have wonderful conversations and start bringing that joy and radiance into others, and making this a movement that you haven't seen before. Something that I truly believe needs to be out for everybody to see and for everybody to experience. And I say that to the point that, yes, this collective is for survivors of trauma, but it is for the survivors' people as well. You have people in your life, you have friends and family, and they may not have experienced your trauma, but they're in your life for a reason. So you're going to bring them along, and it's going to pay it forward, as you said. Put it out there for everybody to see the bigger picture and for people to come together and experience the radiance.
Trust me, I am bursting at the seams to talk about one of the events coming up. So I am abiding by the rules.
So to further answer that, so we will say, because Marisa did say it, we have events coming.
Yes.
Several events.
I was going to say, but different types of events. And
yes,
one in particular that's going to be a series is the one that I don't know why. That's the one that I'm so utterly excited about. So I'm just going to leave that there before I'm going to get in trouble, because I will not get myself in trouble. But
well, I would love people that are listening to the podcast or who are in the collective. If you're not in the collective, please come to the collective. Come see what we're all about. Come see how everybody is inclusive. Come see how everybody shares and supports one another and makes that safe space. But I would just come and experience what there is and know that we're not going to stop. We want to put everything out there and put the personal touch on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, considering that this is your podcast, your humble step in host, will now turn the reins back over to the actual host with one last thing of saying thank you for allowing me to do this today. It was actually quite fun for me because it's definitely different. But again, having the intimate knowledge that I do of RLC, it was very comfortable. That's why I had suggested that we do this, is because out of all the companies that I work with, this one, it has my heart, as in the mission and the message behind it and what we're trying to accomplish. Therefore, because I felt so intimately involved, I had an ease stepping into your role for once. But definitely it's still yours. It's definitely not mine. I promise you, this is an announcement that I'm commandeering anything. But anytime that we would like to open up questions, I would just like to add, though, that we are always looking for like-minded entrepreneurs to bring on to the podcast that are trying to make a difference in the world. That is one of our major pushes, is for the fact that we only align with companies and with even guests that are out to make the world a better place. That is our biggest thing. So if you would like to ever be in participation of the podcast, definitely reach out to Rivka, and I will, or myself as well, behind the scenes. And I definitely cannot wait to see some of the guests that Rivka has coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So there you go. I did my job for PR. I did my job for being a host today. I think I've got it all covered, and now you get to just say what you got to say. Is that a good deal?
It's a perfect deal. I love it.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this and bring a little bit more awareness of what the collective is and giving a couple more little nuggets out there, hints of things to come. But I will tell people, so as I said, I did meet Marisa through school at an event. I have gone to several other events since then. And I believe in personal development, obviously, and being able to take from the events that I go to and pay it forward and give it to other people. So in a week and a half, I will be attending another 9-day event. This will be another intense, deep, soul-searching event. These are events that I may or may not have planned for the collective in the future. But these are events that as you go through your healing journey, you will find that you are ready to attend. And I have been ready for this event for quite some time, but timing also plays a part of that. So in a week and a half, I will be going to that. So here's another little plug. After that event, I hope everybody looks out for some of the new and innovative ways that we are going to be helping and supporting the collective, because I have a feeling there will be a lot that I get from this that I will be able to pay forward and share with others. So thank you again for taking this time with me, and thank everybody for being here and either watching or listening. And I look forward to seeing everybody and hearing from everybody in the future. So cheers, everybody.